Well, hello, Geminis. This is Mystic Crow Tarot, your psychic medium tarot and oracle card reading for mid to end September 2017. Geminis, please know that this reading is very general. There is absolutely no way that I would be able to read for every single person that could possibly watch this video around the world. And that if you'd like to have a more personalized reading, please connect with me on my website at iwanttobeempowered.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. So Gemini, without any delay, I wanted to let you know that I'm using the Enlightenment book today by Chuck Spezzano and illustrated by Allison James. This is a really great clarifying deck for me, I have found. So Gemini, I want to, right off the bat, because they're kind of stopping me. So this is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And of course, you guys deal with duality all the time. But I feel like you're dealing with duality right now, specifically sexually. So I don't know if something's been off for some of you Geminis. I'm getting the word complicated along with communication. So, and this is interesting because they're kind of telling me like not everything has to be traditional. Okay, so I think I'm feeling like some of you are. Like they're giving me the snake and the kundalini, and so an awakening and rising. And so it's really got a lot of that sexual energy, sexual drive around it, that type of explosive type of energy. So I feel like I also feel like they're giving me a lot to do with creativity at this time as well. So if some of you are finding yourself becoming a little open as far as sexually, and maybe becoming, maybe you just can't get enough of it. They're trying to tell you that, this is a three-dimensional world and you can do what you want to do. As far as we're concerned, most of us, yes, there's wrong and there's rights, but on the other side, there's many chances. So whatever it is that you're dealing right now, if you're looking at something that's starting to become really unhealthy, and if this isn't sexual energy, then it has a lot of that high intensity drive. So it could be for some people, maybe addiction, but something is in full force and it's almost like you cannot get enough of it. But they're saying to kind of try to take a step back and try to turn that same energy that we have can also be put into creative modes as well. So I know some of you, I feel like this is internally kind of what's going on. And I also feel like a third party, maybe. Some of you cannot get what you want right now, whether that's with a partner or whether that's with somebody that you just can't have. And normally, I say these readings are general, so whatever happens to come up comes up. But I feel as if you want to make sure this time that you're going about it the right way. Again, this reading is going to connect with some of you, not all of you. I feel a lot of push and pull. I feel there's a lot of psychic connection. One of you is a little more advanced than the other. So the other one who is not, so I feel like the Gemini here in this situation is the one that's a little bit more advanced as far as like the psychic connection with people, or with these people that come in as soulmates for us. But I feel like the person on the other end of it may doubt it, because I feel like they may end up like, say you watch too much TV and you watch things like with vampires and, you know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer or whatever, then it becomes kind of like, it becomes a different reality and escape. But if you begin to do that on an everyday basis, it's not an escape. It starts to become reality. And so I feel like on one end of the Gemini has this, you know, there's this psychic connection. There's this wicked chemistry with this other person. And I do feel like it could possibly be a water sign just because of where the water signs are right now with what's going on. And this reading is very specific to this time period. I say 2 weeks before, 2 to 4 weeks after, 6 weeks sometimes, you know. Everybody's chart placement is different. But I feel like the Gemini in this situation may have a little bit of an upper hand when it comes to being confident in where they're at. And then the other sign, possibly being a water sign, is thinking that it's mostly fantasy. So the Gemini is dealing a lot with that fantasy that's actually reality. And then the other sign, possibly water sign, is they're dealing, and it could be also an earth sign too. I'm getting more water, but then the water sign comes in and says, okay, this is fantasy. This is not reality. So it's actually, if that makes sense to you, it's like polarized and complete flip-flop opposite for each of them. So the Gemini is mostly in fantasy. That's the reality. The other sign that we're dealing with is mostly reality, and everything in other, and the other stuff is just fantasy, if that makes sense, right? So that's kind of where the Gemini is at right now. And so I feel like there's this underlying, like, you could almost spontaneously combust. Like, if this energy is just revved up, like from the inside, and then it's right skin layer. It's skin layer. It's skin deep, like right at the first layer of the skin. I know I'm being confusing, but I'm just trying to convey the energy. So Gemini, you want to be very careful, because this coming November, all the other signs that I've read for, and it's happening because I'm not an astrologer, but I know that what goes on with this has a ton to do with it. So I also know that at this time, you want to be very careful with your choices to not cross those boundaries that could potentially end up doing more harm and to others and karmic harm to you. That makes sense. So I'm going to clarify with this. And I have the higher mind card here. Okay. And the higher mind is part of the grace card. They're asking you to use your higher self to contain this energy, to ground yourself in this energy. Because if you don't, I feel like some of you are on the verge of making a mistake, starting a different cycle for yourself. Where all the other signs, their wheels are kind of put in place, I think besides maybe Taurus right now. The wheels are put into place, and the air is kind of coming to meet them. But you, I feel like you also, your wheel is put into place, but you got a couple different choices coming at you. So be very careful about how you deal with this upcoming situation relationship-wise. So, and this could definitely be business too, but I'm feeling a lot of, you know, if it's not, like I said, I feel a lot of sexual energy. If it's not sexual energy, then it's definitely passionate energy about something. So this could also lead into work. They're saying use the higher mind. It's almost like you can think what you want to, but right now is not a good time to come out with whatever it is. You need to sit on it for a little while. Do not make it a reality. Do not take any steps to make it a reality. Unless you've been working at this thing for 2 years and you're just finally done with it, I still recommend waiting till after November. Okay? So they're saying find yourself in your higher mind. This is the number 47 card. So it comes through, and I feel like this is more of a life path number as the number 2. So you guys have an amazing ability, Gemini, to create peace and harmony wherever you go. So I feel like a lot of you realize, like, oh, you might feel kind of hesitant about what you're going through right now. But I think where that quietness comes in of think before you speak, it's actually, I think what you're going to find out is this is going to bring you on the other side of it, because the two, it does have the ability to create peace and harmony. And two actually unites and brings an end to separateness. And it deals with the sacred feminine. So it's very patient. Okay. It's also talking about your life's path, your compatibility, your destiny, and your expression. So I think a lot of what you're dealing with right now has to do with communication. So whether it's communication of not saying anything, because I think this whole thing is kind of, is this going to pass? Just kind of waiting on this a little bit. Okay, staying very neutral. But it all comes down, I think, to communication. When you deal with the sacred feminine and you're dealing with the number 2, then this symbolizes maturity within the feminine. Softer. Peacemaker. Safety. Caretaker. So however this is connecting with you, I think that the message probably is pretty clear. And it also, the number 2 is connected with Goddess Hera. And it reflects the duality of the spiritual nature. So I think there's one side of you right now, Gemini, that is loving and sensitive and dedicated. And I think that with some of you, there's another side that's kind of vengeful and jealous. And I think this is what I'm talking about before making a decision and saying anything, that you really need to kind of let some of this energy kind of surpass. And November is the time that's coming up. So I would say sit on some things. Don't make any choices right now, because, you know, there's two, whether it's 2 people in a situation, 2 decisions you can make, 2 directions you can go. Just give it a little bit, okay? I wouldn't suggest to go full throttle right now. All right. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to flip the other card for clarifier, and that is the number 42. And this is the love and grace card. So I feel like, you know, with whatever it is that you're currently dealing with, it's not that I had mentioned the word vengeful, and sometimes I hate words like, because they have such a huge meaning to them, or there can always be a negative meaning, but it is what it is. So I feel like even though you have the vengefulness, and, you know, even if it's just a little twinge of it, you still have it. You're human. Don't kid yourself. Don't try to say that's my twin saying that, not me. But I think with all of that being said, what this comes down to is really wanting to learn more about love and being loved in a consistent manner. So the number 6, you know, with the love and the grace, that represents harmony and nurturing, just like the number 2. So I think for you, Geminis, it's going to be really, really important, you know, to take your responsibility seriously and keep some things in the back of your mind until it's time to either share them or allow them to be released completely. Because you are needed at this time, they're telling me, to create some sort of harmony. So I feel like when the time is right, you will know what direction you take, because the 6 is also dealing is a life path number. So we've got the life path number, and it's coming up and related with harmony and home. So I think you have some pretty big decisions that you're kind of weighing right now. But I know that in the end, what you're going to find, whether, if you're in a relationship right now and you're thinking that you've got another, because I get kind of a third party situation here. And if it's not, then it's a third party that is etherical. Like it's a person that if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're thinking, and you're a Gemini and you're thinking that maybe, do I want to be with this person anymore? And you don't, and you're not saying like, oh, or maybe I want to be with this specific person. It's more like, do I want to be with this person, or this is what I want the person to be like that I meet. So I feel like, yeah, I don't know. They're kind of cutting in. Spirit's cutting in and just saying you're kind of stumbling over your words. But I think that what you're going to find is something that's in the long run taking this advice from Spirit, is that love is going to be reciprocated. And like I said, if that's you trying to stay with the person that you're already with and you're already coupled, then I think that you're going to see this love come kind of full circle. Because really, we're all here to learn. And no one is any better than anybody else. We just have life circumstances that have taken us in a different path. Survival instincts. All of that. So nobody's really any better than anybody else here. Truly, we're not. So deal with what you're dealing with. And they're saying kind of do it in a quiet manner. Because I think in the end here, if you're coupled, like I said, unless you've been working on this for a really long time, then I think you can expect, even if you're taking it easy through November, you can expect a separation. But I think if this is something fairly new that's come up, and I mean new within the last couple of years, with this, I have to say I feel a shift. Like things may have been really, really bad. Things started to get better. Things took a step back type of thing. And now I'm just kind of rattling off. But I just feel like keeping it copacetic till November, finding ways to keep your mind occupied. Because a lot of times when we start looking outward at something inward, that sometimes that we're not dealing with. So, all right, I will keep it at that. And I hope, Geminis, that this reading has been fruitful for you. I hope that you really find a place, and I don't want you to close yourself off to your partner. Keep an open mind and keep an open heart and kind of deal with the things that you're dealing with. So, all right. So Gemini, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you adding me into your journey today. And if you'd like to have a more private, individualized session with me, please go to iwanttobeempowered.com or find me on Facebook and Instagram. You can direct message me. We can set something up. All right, Geminis, I'll talk to you later too. But just know that you have a gift card and you have success. So your mission here as a Taurus on this planet Earth, it's really been a gift to the other signs to be able to work through their issues. You guys are bulls. You stand firm. So I appreciate every single one of you. But it also means success, because you're debunking what we used to think as family values or earthly values. You're heading into a new area. And this is something that can be taken with you, depending on what area of your life, whether it's work. So you still have, you're debunking the values of either business and co-workers following you, or debunking the values of family and having your children follow you. So it's all about building like this pyramid, and you're there, you're at the top of the mountain. You've got there. So continue, Taurus, on your way to opening up the spiritual aspects of your life. And know that it's completely normal. And everybody else has been doing it. You guys, some of you guys have been out there doing this too. But some of you guys are, this is kind of new, but guess what? Everybody else has been doing this for a while. So it's time to take a deep breath, decompress, and really start to enjoy this journey and learn about the spiritual aspect, the God nature within you. Because you're a mystic too. I just think you have a hard time realizing that sometimes. So thank you so much, Taurus, for joining me today. I hope that this reading has assisted you with some of the things that you were seeking. And if it doesn't, please check your sun, moon, and rising sign. I also say if you're dealing with a certain situation regarding another sign, cross-watching is a good recommendation. That way you can kind of get into the headspace of what the other sign is dealing with. So if you'd like to have a more individual, personalized reading with me, head on over to my website, iwanttobeempowered.com. Have a wonderful end of the month, Taurus, and I will talk to you in October.